everyone, Abby here at Purple Cottage Crafts, and this is going to be my video response for the 10 crafty questions tag that's been going around on YouTube for the past month or so. And I was tagged by Miss Angie with Itty Bitty here on YouTube. I almost said her Instagram name. So I, of course, will link her. Actually, her channel's always linked below, along with my other crafty girlfriends. So they're always linked in my social media area at the bottom of my description box. So please go check out Angie as well as the other ladies who are linked below as well. And they're all very inspirational, amazing crafters and makers. And I know that you guys will love them if you haven't checked them out already. So I did go ahead and write out the crafty questions so I wouldn't forget. And so they're off to the side. So if you hear my voice changes, because I'm looking over to the side to read the question. And I thought what I would do, because I'm still, moving in and unpacking in my craft room, I thought I'd go ahead and just kind of take a break from that, because I'd be a little bit too noisy, and just kind of working on a project that I've had sitting around for a couple months, waiting for some downtime. And I just have a little bit of some thrifted clothing that I thought I'd go ahead and kind of cut down and just kind of work on that as I'm chatting with you. So it's not as echoey in here as it was, because I have a bit more furniture in here, but if it's still echoey, I apologize. I hope that's not too annoying. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and let's see. So the first question is, what is your name? Well, my name is Abby, and I have lots and lots of nicknames. I've grown up with lots of nicknames. Gabby Abby, because I love to talk, obviously. And Michelle, she likes to call, we call each other Salt and Pepper, so she calls me Pepper or Pep. And then Angie, she calls me Cocoa Butter. I have all kinds of nicknames and stuff, but most everybody just knows me as Abby, and they call me Abby. So there's that. Second question, how did I come up with my YouTube name? Well, so a couple of years ago, I actually changed my YouTube name. It was, sorry, I hope that's not too loud on the table. Prior to that, it was Scrappin' Abby, which started out as a joke roughly 20 years ago. One of my best friends, I always joke about my in real life friends and my online friends, just so I can kind of clarify, which person I'm talking about or whatever. So Cindy, she is the doctor I used to nurse for, and we became really good friends and turned into best friends. And 20 years ago, this month actually, is when we first officially met. And we went to a local crop, which is, and for those non-scrapbookers, if you're not sure what I mean by that, because we were, I was just solely a scrapbooker back then. It was at a local scrapbook store, which is sadly no longer in existence, along with a lot of small brick and mortar shops. It's sad, because, we love to support the small business owners. And I don't know how much I'm going to get done, because I do kind of talk with my hands and all that jazz. So it's just something for me to do, I guess, and for you to look at. Okay, so my YouTube name. So it was a joke where we had to go around at the table. We were given little name tags because we were all meeting each other for the first time. So as a joke, I wrote Scrappin' Cindy on her tag, and I thought it was pretty funny. Everybody else was cracking up. So then when I was away doing something, she had gotten a hold of my tag, and she wrote Scrappin' Abby, and I just kind of made my blog that, because I was just a blogger. I wasn't a blogger then, but that's what my blog became. And then my YouTube channel that I started 8 years ago, it was Scrappin' Abby, but I did change it to Purple Cottage Crafts. Now, to the actual answer to the question, sorry. The reason I chose Purple Cottage Crafts is, one, for my love / obsession with purple. And then also because I did not want to just kind of be pigeonholed into one type of craft where I'm just like a scrapbooker, which is nothing wrong with that, because I am still a card maker, junk journaler, all those kinds of things. But to me, having my name as just Scrappin' Abby, that to me just evoked kind of like, oh, she's just like a scrapper, a scrapbooker, or whatever, when I do so many different projects and things on my YouTube channel. So I wanted to have a name for something that I knew would be more me, like of the different types of crafts that I like to do. So I just chose Purple because, again, my love of purple, and then Cottage because I love that shabby chic-y kind of a vibe. Whenever Steve and I eventually purchased some property with some, has some acreage on it, We just moved into our house a little over a year ago. So that's not happening like, in the next year or two or anything like that. Just getting in my craft room. But, my ultimate dream is to have like my own standalone, like crafty type cottage. And Steve is, wants to create that for me when that time in our life comes. And so I just always like the cottage look, and then crafts, of course, just to kind of encompass crafting in general, whether it be bookmaking, scrapbooking, card making, doing things with fabrics, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of I guess, a long answer to how did I come up with my name. And that's it, Purple Cottage Crafts. That just seems like Abby, seems like me. Okay, so number 3, my favorite craft. Now that is kind of a tricky one because I don't have just one favorite. My types of favorites, let me see what the other questions were, but make sure I'm not answering the future question. Okay. So my favorite craft is, crafting as in its entirety, honestly. Now, I may not be cutting this up the way somebody else might, or like the proper way, so please don't judge me if you're like, oh my gosh, don't cut it up that way. I'm just cutting this up. I bought this just for the fabric. So I'm not trying to like repurpose this into like another garment or anything like that. Anyway, so I guess my current obsession it has to be with the whole slow stitching movement, which is a thing. And I have several videos on that. Matter of fact, I have a playlist just for slow stitching. And I will link those below so you can go check those out. And if you just go to Instagram, it is hashtag slow stitching. You're going to see lots of, you're going to see thousands upon thousands of other posts and things like that. For all the different crafters and makers out there who do the slow stitching. So, and that includes having fabric and doing stitching into my junk journals and my paper crafting. I marry the two because I like how they look together. I think they play well together. And it is something that I can do when I'm having my really bad pain days. I can lay in bed and I can, just have my little tabletop craft thing I have, and I can sit there and just do some stitching while I'm watching an old movie or just listening to some music or something like that. So I feel like I'm still going to be able to be creative while I'm not actually physically in my craft room. And it's also something that I can do when I'm sitting down with my husband and we're watching some TV together. So I guess my favorite craft at the moment, and it's always going to be a part of my life, is going to be the stitching, the slow stitching. Yeah, I'm just kind of doing, stitching in general on fabric and in paper. Okay. 4, my favorite places to shop. Well, I have several. So this may not be the shortest response video, but that's okay. You can fast forward to the questions you really want to hear, I guess, if I'm too chatty on others. But again, Gabby Abby. So as far as online, well, I kind of have them categorized in my head here a little bit. So for online, I really like Amazon. There's just a plethora of things that you can find on Amazon, from, just to the smallest thing like a sewing needle to, actual, large cutting tool devices like, crickets and the vagabonds and things like that, and everything kind of in between for all the different types of crafting I like, the bookmaking and the fabrics and the paper crafting and all those kinds of things. Plus we're Amazon Prime members, so we get free shipping. Technically, I guess it's not free because we pay $100 a year for that. But anyway, for Prime. So Amazon is one that I really like. And once I get my website up, which is going to be soon, I will have, I'll be able to make my affiliate with Amazon like live, meaning where you guys can actually click on that. So that's a little hint or a nod to something that's going to be coming up. Let's see. So let's see, there's Amazon. Oh, and then obviously like, well, I shouldn't say obviously, Etsy is another place. I love looking on Etsy. eBay is a great one. Facebook Marketplace for me, I get the most amazing crafty finds. I mean, from tools to paper to craft room storage to fabrics. I just filmed a video yesterday actually, which I'll get edited hopefully by tomorrow, sometime tomorrow, where I was able to thrift this massive amount of vintage postage stamps for $20. So Craigslist, let's see, Facebook Marketplace, oh, Garage sale. It's like garage, but a V, Garage sale. And you can dial that down to your location. So you can find online things there for, where you live. Let's see, because I jotted down a few notes so I wouldn't forget, because I do. Craigslist. I'm not sure if I say Craigslist or not. So as far as like physically going to a location, I think the obvious ones, Craft Warehouse, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's. Although I find myself not really going to those stores first for a lot of things, because I am, since I'm in, since I'm really like really introducing, well, I've always used fabrics in my crafting. I mean, way back to scrapbooking. I mean, like what, 25 years ago or so. But since I'm like really focused on the fabric arts, textile collage, things like that as of late, I've really been hitting my thrift shops. And my favorite one is St. Vinny's. And I do go to Goodwill. It's not my first go-to, but I do go to Goodwill, and I am able to find some really good deals when I do go there. And so I like to hit those. And there's some smaller, mom and pop type thrift shops I like to hit. Yard sales, of course. Estate sales are fantastic to find great things. I also like to go to upholstery shops. There is an amazing one that I went to in Springfield. I was dropping off our grandson after keeping him for a few days, and I went stopped there, and I just found some amazing fabrics and textiles. I haven't filmed that haul video yet because things have just been so crazy, but that was probably about a month ago. But that, I do have it all sorted and everything, so I'm hoping to film that video here real soon, because I want to get those put away from the bags they're in into their proper place, since I can now move into my craft room. So so those are places I like to go to. You can find a lot of really cool sewing notions, the books, that the old samples. Oh, also like not fabric stores. Well, there too, because they sell like, textile sample books, or they have those books. You can buy like, different types of textiles. But like going to your furniture stores and getting the retired or discontinued book samples for like, different fabrics and textile for couches and chairs and things. So that's another great resource to go to for those types of items. Let's see, Lowe's and Home Depot, and I don't think that'll probably be shocking to too many of you, because especially if you're working with wood and like different bits of metal and things like that into your crafting. There's also, I go there for paints and different types of compounds and stuff like that for different projects that I may be working on. So those are other locations. And I'm probably only going to get this one shirt done because I'm so focused on trying to make sure I don't forget anything. Let's see here. Okay, so for top 5 YouTube channels, and I've seen a lot of other videos, the response videos for the Crafty questions, a lot of them have also struggled with trying to just pick out just 5. It's hard because you don't want to leave any of your crafty girlfriends out. And I know the crafty gents out there too. I'm not trying to exclude, guys that craft. You don't want to leave anybody out or forget anybody, because you don't want to have hurt feelings, because I learn and enjoy watching all of my crafty friends that on their YouTube channels and their blogs. But since the challenge is for 5, I'm not going to name just 5, because like I said, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or offend anybody or anything like that. So what I decided to do is I tweaked it a little bit, this question, and I made it to my 5 top YouTube genre channels, like different styles and stuff. So one of them is paper crafting as a whole, including scrapbooking, card making, junk journaling, all that kind of stuff, tags, ephemera, all those kinds of things. I'm really into the whole paper crafting genre on YouTube. The next one would be sewing and stitching, including quilting. I don't quilt, but there are quilting techniques that I learned from watching quilters and even people who knit, because my daughter and I are going to teach ourselves how to knit. We're going to do it together. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And because I learned techniques that I can use in my personal crafting projects. And then mixed media, because that to me is a different genre, because it's different, a style of crafting. And so I really enjoy watching mixed media channels, and the ones that got me going first would be Donna Downey and Christy Tomlinson. So those are the 2 ladies. Donna Downey first, I came across her first, but those are the ladies that really got me into wanting to give it a go with doing mixed media projects and stuff like that. And then the next one would be art journaling, and I really enjoy that. It's a great creative playtime for me to use a lot of different art mediums and different types of paints and tools that I may not use on my junk journal projects or my slow stitching fabric projects, things like that. So I really use art journaling as like a creative release kind of a thing for me, just kind of a creative play, a little bit of a break from the usual crafting that I do. And then the last one would be this may not be a genre really, but it's just overall craft educational channels / DIY, whether it be home decor, because with us having a new home, me being a first-time homeowner, you know, just trying to find all kinds of home decor ideas and educational channels, meaning tutorials, whether it be on a blog or whether it be on as a video tutorial or whether it be from a book. And I meant to bring my books in here, but I forgot. I'll probably make a separate video for that because they're still in the car from the craft retreat that I went on last week. I haven't unpacked the car yet, but or my Tahoe yet. But anyway, so books, because I'm always wanting to learn and educate myself on different types of crafting, different styles and different mediums and materials that are out there, and just stuff like that. So that's how I'm going to interpret my 5 favorite YouTube channel question for this challenge. I mean, I just wanted to break it down by the genre because I feel like that's just a better answer or fit for me. All right, so let's see, number 6, favorite color. I think we all know, but just for the sake of the video, we will flip to the purple side. Yay! And I grabbed some samples just to kind of give you, you know, because there's so many different shades of purples and things like that. Plus, they're just pretty and I want to play with them. So for me, obviously, it's purple, 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 lilac, lavenders, all those shades they're in. So it's a broad range, Mick. I love the soft lavenders. Like this is just some bridal. This is an applique from a wedding dress that I just used some, I don't know what brand of spray it was, just real light color. I love that shade. These are some cheesecloth pieces. This one kind of has like a gray tone. I'm not sure it's going to pick up on camera, especially with this background, but I love like the silvery plum kind of gray color. So I love these shades as well. Here are some, I'm trying to flip to a little bit more of a white side. Here are just some chenille fabric pieces that I purchased off eBay. I love all these different shades of the purples and the lavender. And I also wanted to show that I do love green mixed in. This is more like a periwinkle, but I still love it. But I love mixing in green with my shades of purples. And there's certain shades of green. I mean, I'm not talking like bright neon green or really grass green. I mean, I do see purple with the grass green, and I do like it. It's more of a, well, do I have a example? Yeah, I do on some flowers over here. I'll show you. It's more like a sagey kind of a green. I really like that, and kind of like the deeper green, like with plants, if that makes sense. And I love the lilacs and the lavenders together. I love this shade of purple. This is a pillowcase I bought off eBay, I think, for probably my upstairs craft room chair, or maybe downstairs, I'm not sure. But like I love the different shades of the purples together. I love how that looks. And I love this kind of minty green and that green too. I think it's very pretty. I do love that. And then this one here too. So those are just some samples of some of my favorite shades of purples as far as like fabrics and things that I could get to, because we would be here all day if I showed you every purple thing that I owned. But as far as like flowers and stuff, this isn't flower. This is a sample of some scraps for my wallpaper. So, you know, I love those colors as well. And then for a flower, this is an artificial flower I got from Hobby Lobby, I think, and I love it. And so, like these greens, this is like the kind of green I'm talking about that I really love with my purples and stuff. Why is there a shadow? Oh, I think it's the cable for when my chandelier goes up. Sorry about that. I'll have to move that over. But I just like, this is it. Like, this is my favorites. All of these together, just absolutely gorgeous. And I'm also a lover of hydrangeas. And I have here, you guys had to know that the favorite color question was probably my most long answer. I can't talk enough about purple. But these are some gorgeous dried hydrangeas that I picked up from one of my favorite farmhouse shops. And I love these colors. There's like, even like this, like the blue kind of mixed in. I love that with my purples and lavenders and stuff. And I think that's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know the shade of that blue or hydrangea, but I love that. So it's not just the straight up purple shades. I love it with the greens like I showed you. I think it's gorgeous with the blues like this. I also love it with white and creams too. So it's, you know, it's kind of a variety of, you know, well, not a variety, I guess, but a sampling of some different colors that I really enjoy with my beloved purple. Put that back so it doesn't fall and break apart. Okay, moving on to question number 7. So favorite craft tools. That is really going to depend on what craft I'm working on, because you use different tools for different crafts, and some of my tools I can use interchangeably. So let's see here. So like when I'm doing paper crafting, and just these are not all of them, this is just ones I think of would be like my Tim Holtz ruler. I love my deckle edge ruler. I love my tiny tatcher because I love having metal in my projects, even on fabric and like on tags or in my journals, things like that. I love that metal embellishment element in my projects. My sewing machine, of course, and any type of millinery tools, like, you know, the awl, the needles, all the different type, you know, like the different embroidery needles and the darning needles, all that kind of stuff. I love all of those types of tools for that. Let's see, all my scissors, because I use all different types of scissors, you know, my pinking shears, fabric shears, rotary trimmer, things along that line. Oh, and then, oops, sorry, and then my rulers for fabric. My fabric rulers, and then my craft knife, and then embroidery hoops. Okay, so, and I consider an embroidery hoop a tool because when I'm practicing my embroidery stitches, you know, it's a tool that I'm using to create with. I hope that makes sense. So where do I get my crafty love? Question number 8. I get that, well, inherently it's probably from my biological father, who I did not meet. He is full African American, and regretfully, I did not get the opportunity to meet him in my lifetime before he passed away. But just from what I've been told from my mother and from some of his family who are still living, from pictures and things like that, he was an artist. Like, he did canvas work and he sold a lot of his paintings, and I wish to this day that I was able to have one. I wouldn't even care what it was, just so I could have something you know, that my dad had created. And so my mom had always told me, you know, when I was older, that, you know, he is where she feels or felt that I get my creativity from, because he was an artist, you know, and he's, like I said, that was like what he did. And he did a lot of also like structural type stuff. Like, he loved to go picking at junkyards, and maybe that's where I got this love for that too. Because I mean, I don't go to junkyards because, you know, you can't really, it's not like it was when I was a kid, but I love to go thrifting and picking and all that kind of fun stuff. So I do that. Let's see, and then second would be, let's see, probably at a young age. It started from church, because I was raised in church, going to VBS, and you're always doing, you know, all types of crafts and stuff in children's church, and at, you know, Vacation Bible School is what VBS is, in case you aren't familiar with that. And then in school, of course, doing arts and crafts in school. I've always enjoyed that. And then as far as like crafting, like as far as home decor and things, probably for my mom, because I grew up in a house where she decorated for every holiday, whether it was, you know, a one-day thing like a St. Patrick's, or whether it was like a seasonal thing like, you know, fall, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And I just grew up like that, and I've always loved it, and I did it for my kids, and they enjoyed it, and I still do it for our home today. So, you know, because that is also a form of creativity when you're doing home decor and creating DIY projects and stuff like that. And then last but not least is Steve. Steve is, he has a degree in graphic arts, graphic design. This guy is so talented. He's a musician, plays several instruments, he sings, he can draw, he paints. His favorite medium is oils, and he likes painting with watercolors and things like that too. So he does a lot of that, and so he's an inspiration for me. And he helps to keep me inspired because, you know, he's always doing something creative. So there's that. Number 9. When did I start crafting? I don't have like an exact age, but it's just since I was a little girl is what I'll say. Ever since I can remember, I've always been doing some form of crafting, whether it be, or creating, whether it be in the kitchen baking, because I love to bake, because I've got a massive sweet tooth and my body shows that. And because I have great memories of that with my, I hate to use the word stepdad, you guys, because to me personally, steps are what you walk on, and that's not a term I choose to use to label or call a man who raised me as his own, even though I wasn't his biological child and gave me his name and everything. So I hate to use that term, but since I mentioned, you know, I never met my biological dad, I wanted to clarify in case you're like, wait, what? You just said you didn't meet him. I'm referring to my stepdad. I have great memories of growing up and cooking with him and stuff, and I really enjoyed that. So that's, to me, is another form of creating, I believe. Let's see here. Last question, you guys. Let's see, 24 minutes in, and I've gotten half the shirt cut, and I had a pile here. What is your favorite crafting / art so far? So, slow stitching. We'll get to that one. So I don't ever think I have like just one. Let me put something white down so it's a little bit easier to see. I don't think I have like one massive like favorite. I mean, obviously be paper crafting because paper is always going to be my love, always. But I've also become completely obsessed for about a year now with slow stitching when I first came across it. Fabric crafting, textile collage, all that kind of stuff. So this was the first big project that I did with slow stitching. I haven't finished this at all. It's been sitting for almost a year now, but it's okay. And I look at this and I'm like, oh, I'm critiquing it because I'm like, because I feel like I've learned, different types of different stitches and stitching from teaching myself embroidery and things like that from YouTube videos and books and whatnot. But I love it because it was my very first like major piece, I guess you could say, for slow stitching. And so I'll just show you the cover here. So this is just an example of one of them, is just layering fabrics together, doing textile collage. That is really huge in my life right now, and it's actually a major influence in my paper crafting too. And so slow stitching, and then we have junk journaling, of course, because it's paper and I love making books and I love playing with paper. Home decor, because of us again having a new home, and then home decor for my craft room decor. Journaling in general, and I think to me that is a form or a type of art or crafting for me, because journaling helps me with my creativity. If I feel like I'm maybe stumped on a project or something, I'll just kind of write about it or kind of write down my thoughts about the project, and then I feel like I come up with maybe a solution to maybe a roadblock I was having with a particular project or something like that. And so journaling to me, that's like something I enjoy, which kind of goes hand in hand with art journaling. And then I would just say, yeah, fabric, textile, art, collage, and then and then my books that I love so much. And I'll do a separate video on that because I've been asked before, what type of books do I like to look at for, to educate myself and for reference materials and things like that. So, which I've purchased all on Amazon so far, except one I bought at Joann's because it was on sale and I had a coupon. So, all right, I think that is the answer to the 10 questions, you guys. And then I don't know if there's a certain amount of people you're supposed to nominate to do the challenge. Of course, it's not required. Nobody can force anybody to do anything. But so I just thought of, off the top of my head, I just thought of 3. Obviously, I would pick Angie, but she nominated me, so she's already done it. So, of course, I'll link, her link, like I said, is always below with my other crafty girlfriends, but I will also leave a link higher up in the description to her crafty questions video where she nominated me, so you can get to that video quickly and kind of see what her answers were for her video. And so first one, of course, is Michelle Scott. So Michelle, I nominate you, girl, if you haven't been nominated already. And of course, nobody has to actually do the video if you don't want to do it. I'm not gonna like, why didn't you do the response video? I nominated you. If you want to, do it. Awesome, great. I love to watch it and I'll share it and all that good stuff. If you don't, that's cool too. And then Nick the Booksmith. I chat with Miss Nick quite often on Facebook Messenger. So again, I know she's super busy with new tutorials coming out and all that kind of stuff, so she may not have time to do the video, and that's obviously fine too. So I think I might want to leave the buttons on. Kind of talking to myself here. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that because I'm not quite sure what I want to use that particular panel for on a project. So I'm going to leave that together because I'm sure you guys were wondering. Is Abby going to keep the buttons on or take them off? And then last but not least is Melody. And Melody is a newer crafty friend to me. She sent me some lovely happy mail from her shop, and I will link that video as well as her YouTube channel and all of her social media sites, so you can go check her out. Her channel is Making Memories with Melody. She is also an Oregonian like myself, so it's awesome to have another Oregon crafter as a crafty friend. And so that's exciting. And she does a lot of live shows. I catch a lot of the replays actually on a lot of my crafty friends and other crafters that I don't actually communicate with, but I like to watch their channels. I mostly catch the stuff on replay because I'm just, doing stuff, or I can't participate in the live chat, which I miss doing with my friend, like Laurel and stuff, and they're live, and Michelle and Amy and those guys. But anyway, I do catch the replays, and she does a lot of great tutorials, has great ideas for journal making with the flow journals, and she also has a shop too where you can find some great products and stuff like that. So those are the three. So Miss Michelle, Miss Nick the Booksmith, and Miss Melody. So those three, you're tagged. Again, like I said, if you don't want to do the challenge, you don't have to. It's not required, obviously. Nobody can make you do it. But if you have the time, or you think it's something fun you would like to do, then do that. And of course, you know, send me a message or send me the link to your response video. I mean, I'll see it eventually, obviously, because I'm subscribed to all of you, and I have notifications turned on. But sometimes I get behind on, you know, catching up on my notifications and things like that. So just let me know, and then I for sure will go check it out. And I'd love to hear what your responses are and who you want to nominate if you choose to do so. So I managed to get one blouse cut down. That's okay, because I can sit here. I'll still take a little bit longer of a break. And I'll whip through these a little bit quicker when I'm not talking, because like I said, I talk with my hands. And I think that's it. So Angie, thank you again, girl, for nominating me for this. And if you haven't seen any of the 10 Crafty Questions Challenge going on, if you just search that simply in YouTube, you're going to find, I'm sure, hundreds, if not probably 1,000 or more videos, because it's been going on for a few months. And it's been enjoyable for me, because I've learned a lot. And some of the people have been showing their faces, which is awesome, because you'll mostly just see hand views. And it's so cool to kind of put a face to the name. And I was going to do a face video, but, and I was waiting for the last 3-4 days to feel okay enough pain-wise to kind of make myself a little more presentable and stuff. But if I did, you know, it's going to take too long, and I want to get the response for this done while I have an opportunity to do so. So you guys just got my hands again. Which, with the way I look today, I gave, it's a gift, you guys. Accept that gift that you're not seeing my face, okay? So anyway, so just check that. And then, again, thank you, Angie. And then I will, I guess, see you guys later. So happy scrapping, happy planning, happy crafting, and be sure to look out for those future videos that I've kind of mentioned, like my different, you know, reference and art, educational type books and journals and things like that. And I think I mentioned something else, I can't remember. Anyway, and I'll have links to everything that I mentioned in the video when I go back to edit this. So just check everything out below. And of course, Michelle's channel is linked below, as well as Nick's, because they're like in my favorites. And then of course I'll link Miss Melody's in there as well. So thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully I wasn't too rambly, and I will see you next time in a future video. So I'll see you later. Bye.